this Will and Jada situation. They back in the news. Seems like. When's the last time? What was that? Last year? What was that? When they had the entanglement thing? That was last year, right?
Yeah.
Entanglement. I feel like it was this year. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
It feel like it was.
I don't know. Hold up. Let me check. That's a great question.
She's going wild, but we gotta drop her, bro. I can't lie to you. That's a dub.
Jamal already ready.
Hear me out though. Hear me out though. All right. So don't get me wrong. I do feel like Will should probably, in his best interest, call it quits. But in this specific instance, I'm not gonna lie, media slimed her. Like, don't get me wrong, she has done too much.
Why is she still talking? Like,
so from my understanding, I seen a clip of it, and then I read the article, but the title was wild. Most people usually don't read, so when they see a crazy title, which is what media tends to do because that's how they make their money and stuff, they don't even bother looking into it. They just like assume it is what it is. So essentially, the media, well, the title of the article was something along the lines of why Jada struggled to have a sexual relationship with Will or something like that. That was taken out of context. The context is essentially she was saying that women be wilding and they crazy. Essentially, they be expecting men to be mind readers, and that's not how it works. Just because somebody likes you or somebody feels very strongly about you does not mean they'll always be able to understand what you're going through and read your mind and be able to pleasure you when it comes to certain things. But media was like, "Oh, word! You said you can't. You said Will couldn't pleasure you. Say less." And so they took it, made the headline. And yeah, she should just really try to word her opinions and her truth better so that it can't be taken out of context. But in this instance, I'm like, damn, Jada, it sucks to be you. And I feel like if it wasn't her, she would have gotten away with it. But because she has a history of entanglements and confusions, they do what they do.
I do see that she clarified her statements. I think it was like a day ago. So I'm gonna just read what she said regarding.
Wait, was there like an actual video though?
Yeah, I think it was on her
actual video.
So I can't find the clip. Yeah, I didn't. Like I said, I didn't see the full episode. I saw the clip on. Somebody sent it to me, but I didn't. That's my bad. I didn't have it ready. But I'm gonna read what she said. So she said, "The thing Will and I talk about a lot is the journey. We started in this at a very young age, 22 years old. That's why the accountability part really hit hard for me, because I think you expect your partner to know what you need, especially when it comes to sex. It's like, well, if you love me, you should know. If you love me, you should read my mind. That's a huge pitfall." So like, how y'all feel about that? Do y'all feel that opens the question, do you think that when you're in a relationship, like your partner should know you, or do you feel like women have kind of like pushed that onto men, like they should just know, men should just know, or your partner should just know?
I feel like it comes with the whole thing, knowing your partner, that comes with time and trust and like just relationship. Like, because even my boys, like, I know certain things about them that the average person wouldn't know, or like certain things I know that they will do, certain things I know they won't do, just because I've been with them and I'm around them, so I know them. But yeah, I feel like to a certain extent that is valid reasoning. But if you see that the needs that you have are not being met, it is your responsibility to make sure they are met. That is not your partner's, not your children's, not anybody else's but yours, I feel. Like, so let's say, for example, the example they use is sexual relations. Don't get me wrong, your partner should, have a bit of an inkling. You guys have been together. They should have an inkling of how to, arouse you and stimulate you and whatnot. But even if they don't, it's not their job. It would be a nice thing, but that's not their job. Like, nah.
It's not their job. Wait. Nah. You said it's not your partner's job.
No, it's not.
Okay. Wait, are we speaking of boyfriend and girlfriend type thing? We're talking like Jada and then like married.
Well, I mean, even if it's married, like I look at happiness and like all that. Well, I look at happiness as a personal thing. Don't get me wrong. Other people can add to your happiness and they can like, add to your fulfillment. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to like find some source of happiness outside of other people. Like whether it's your passion, whether it's just you love life or something, but like you can't rely on people for happiness because let's say somebody dies or somebody lets you down. What are you going to do now? It's just like, yeah, you're screwed. So like how I look at it is always have like internal happiness. Not like that whole like self-love crap that everybody be preaching, but like, yeah, nah, just like, have something that you look forward to. If you can't, I feel like you should try to find it. That should be your goal. If you don't have happiness, your goal should be to find happiness, not necessarily like, oh, this makes me feel well, not necessarily like, oh yeah, I'm gonna find it in this person that. No, like just find something that makes you happy. Find essentially a purpose for living. It doesn't have to be anything.
You're saying like find happiness in an untangible, like, but like what would be like something that's not tangible that you would find happiness in?
Okay, for example, for me, I find happiness in skating. I find happiness in playing video games, depending on the games, with like friends and stuff, because it's like camaraderie and whatnot.
Yeah, but those are still like, but those are still, so the things like those are still physical things. So like, say you like broke your leg, right, and now you can't skate. So then are you just going to be unhappy, or like say like you just I don't know, your game don't work, and you got money to buy another one, you're just going to be unhappy just because of those? Because you see, like you're still talking about happiness from like a physical thing in a sense of like your happiness still coming from something that's physical. Not it might necessarily be a person, but it's still something.
I feel like it's more like, well, when you put it like that, I feel like generally speaking, like, all right, my happiness comes from knowing that at the end of the day, this world is beautiful and I'm going to see it. Like, that's where my happiness comes from. That's where my joy comes from. That's where my purpose for living comes from. Because I know at the end of the day, what I have in my head is I want to see like different cultures. I want to see different people. I want to just like explore. I want to learn about the world because this world is hella big. And like, yeah, for me to just stay in this small space for my whole life, it's a dub. Like, I'm not doing all that. So like, I want to actually travel, see some things. Don't get me wrong. Like there are other things, like the little mundane things that can, bring forth happiness to me. But generally speaking, my purpose, for me at least, that's what I think my purpose is to explore, travel, experience. That's what I like to do. That's my purpose for living. And yeah, so I feel like once you have a purpose, you kind of find happiness, and it like kind of goes hand in hand, like around there. So yeah.
So what would you say to that, Jamal?
I can see where you're coming from. I personally just disagree in the sense of I think happiness is something that's like internal and not necessarily based on any external factors. I think external things can like change like your level of happiness, but I think like ultimately I do agree with the sense of like you like being happy and not relying on somebody else. But I think that happiness has to stem from something higher than yourself.